Hi, my friend. My name is Angelo Giuliano. I'm Italian, but I was born in Switzerland, so I'm Italian and Swiss. I've been in China for 25 years, the last 3 years in Hong Kong. And what I've seen in Hong Kong was very, very shocking. I can compare all those colored revolution. So we saw it in Syria, in Iraq, and in Venezuela, and the last one was in Ukraine. So we've seen the Maidan revolution, and what they're trying to do is exactly to replicate the Maidan revolution here in Hong Kong. In Ukraine, what they did, they antagonized Ukraine speakers and Russian speakers. They made each other enemies when they were brothers for hundreds of years. And they're trying to do exactly the same in Hong Kong, to separate, to antagonize mainland Chinese and Hong Kong-born Chinese, because at the end, they're all Chinese. They just don't know about history. So what they do, NED, National Endowment for Democracy from the US, which is an extension of the CIA, what they do, they go inside the country and they try to find the useful idiots and basically pawns, because that's what they are. Those people, those writers, and those people that call themselves fighters for democracy and for freedom, they are just pawns. So basically, NED, they go inside the country and they see who they can partner with, and they invest into political parties, some NGOs. They invest into medias, and they start brainwashing the kids. And what they do is they brainwash them through emotional triggers. So typically, movies are triggers. And also they've invested into the teachers' unions and so on. So basically it starts, they are into clusters where they only have anti-China rhetorics. And so the brainwashing starts from kids. And basically they've seen China as just the enemy, while China has changed a lot. China in many ways is much more democratic than a lot of other countries. And so they're afraid of the future, how Hong Kong could be. And we can all address those problems, but you cannot be afraid of something that you don't know. So most of those kids, they've never been to China. They don't even cross the border. They don't know about what is happening, and they're calling for a revolution when in reality China is the revolution. If they go to Shanghai, they will realize this is not the China they know. So this is why usually when you look at the Hong Kong people that actually live in China, they're not anti-Chinese. Because they just realize China is it's no more like the time of the Cultural Revolution. So I feel really sad about what is happening in Hong Kong. And I would like to tell those kids, just wake up, because you're being used. I love democracy. I come from a country where we have a direct democracy, and it's a really good place. And I think democracy doesn't apply to every culture, society. It's a process. Democracy is a process. And Hong Kong right now doesn't have the preconditions to have democracy, a good democracy. Why? Because it's you guys. When there is violence, you cannot have a democracy. When people are brainwashed, education is very biased. When the medias are very biased. When there is foreign interference, you cannot have a democracy. So we need to solve a lot of problems in Hong Kong. And I think there's another pressing problem, which is Article 23. It's about the sovereignty of China over Hong Kong. We need to solve that as soon as possible. So now I'm very worried about the local elections, which are in September. And I think we need to get ready, because I'm expecting an escalation of violence. And it's really important that we get the word out. And I'm calling for foreigners, English speakers, to speak up, speaking up. Don't be afraid, I've been facing those writers. Do not be afraid of them. We need to speak up, because there's much more at stake here. Hong Kong is just a proxy war between the US and China. And we need to speak up to let the world know about exactly what is happening here. And so we're doing this because we love Hong Kong, we love China, but it's also for peaceful world. My son is Chinese, and I want him to be proud to be Chinese. This is our home. We need to fight together. So this is why I'm launching very soon a YouTube channel. It's going to be an English speaker YouTube channel where I will have guests to invited, and the idea is to bring this emotional war, revolution of, I mean, chaos that is happening right now in Hong Kong, to bring it back to something more rational. Because Hong Kong needs to wake up. This is just madness. When I go out in the streets, I see those people. It looks like a zoo. If you seen what happened in Mong Kok the other night, it looked like a zoo. I think those guys are under drugs, and they're being paid. They're trying to find lawless people, and they pay them. The kids, the students, I feel really sad for them. I really care for them. We need some compassion for them because they've been brainwashed. But at the end of the day, if we need to protect the rule of law, so whatever you can do to save Hong Kong, do it, please. We need to support the police. Whenever you see a policeman, go to him and say thank you, because that's the last thing that keeps us into a civilized society. So let's work on this for Hong Kong, to save Hong Kong. My friends, be strong. Those are difficult times, so be strong, be safe, get ready. Try to push for Article 23 and get ready for this summer, because sadly I'm expecting an increase of violence. Thank you, my friends.